Hello, everyone. Hope that you are well. Coach Gonzalo here from Krav Maga, Self Defense for All. Um, yeah, the, the title of today, that is what I had planned, is for us to talk about health. And I had this, I'm going to say, questions and also research on these that can help it as you build your own self-defense program. Um, cool. Well, there are multiple things happening across the world. It's true. We've experienced. Um, well, before we talk about what's happening in the world, because when I connected my phone today, really early in the morning, um, Wall Street Journal says like, okay, two again mass shootings reports, but news are made. I would say apparently news are only made for bad things. It doesn't mean it does not need to be like that. And as a practitioner of self-defense, we also have to defend ourselves against a lot of these things that could drive us down. And so I think that's super important to also to think about it. Okay, think about that. Let's be aware of what's out there, and we'll talk about these more in detail. So today I want to talk about I would say something much more happy, and also something where we can that effectively we can control, and it's about our health. Okay, and I will in particular talk about what what is it that what is it that adults can control immediately, like and because you train Krav Maga with us, okay, and or if you don't train Krav Maga with us, these are the types of things that you can control, you as an adult. Health, what will health actually means for adults who train, who work, and actually carry stress on day to day. So my point in here is this: the World Health Organization defines health as a combination of three areas: physical health, mental health, and the relationships and the goal of relationships of you and others. Think about social well-being. And in fact, I've got the definition right over here, and they say not just the absence of disease, the absence, right? So let that tag along. So you've got the physical health, taking care of the physical body. If we can separate it, this is obviously not. This is a very um, it's a way to think about that. That is, if I have my legs and my legs are working, if I have my lungs and everything is working, then everything is fine. But then you have that layer of mental health, and then the next level is the social well-being. I know these are very high-level definitions, but we can effectively break this down and see how Krav Maga, how self-defense for all, can help you. And if you don't train it, it's still fine. Okay, it still applies if you do the work. So uh, I would say for active adults, it's super important that adults are active. Um, there is, I can find in the research, but there is good evidence that movement is the most powerful of all drugs, and it's so potent that is more potent than by a 250 times fold. I might be wrong on these, okay, but even if it is a 25 times fold, Guess what? Still better than picking up a pill and having the pill. But physical, think about this. You can move day to day, do your things. You can train, that is exert, and then you can recover. Okay, that is what kind of things you do, and you do not break down. So that's physical. That is, you've got strength. Your joints have, are okay. They can be useful. They have range of motion. You understand balance, left and right, forward and back, and you have energy for your day to day. And don't need to worry about if whatever energy could means, but energy is just your ability to go forward in life. Okay, um, go forward. And if I think about more of a mechanical perspective, it's the ability to move forward, backwards, up, down. Okay, so that's energy. Um, from a mental perspective, super important in Krav Maga or in martial arts. You are able to stay calm under pressure, either pressure being at practice when someone's throwing a punch at you, or pressure being at work when things are not exactly going well, or if things are going well and you want to improve them. So that's you are able to make decisions when you are tired, stressed, and or even surprised. That's a super interesting thing, right? And those decisions should be as best as possible. And you are not constantly flooded or anxious. Stress-related injuries are really common. Are common, um, and they lead people to taking pills and to. I'm probably too much focus on pills today, but there is this idea that obviously stress will hinder you. So I'd like you to think that you have Krav Maga as a tool to help you. Okay, it does bring a level of awareness that is higher, and because you train under stress, controlled stress at class, you're able to do better. That's just you're able to do better because you tend and you are able to respond to whatever is happening to you in a controlled manner. So that I think that's super important, and you have fun with that. Okay, so one of the things that I think it's super interesting in the work that we're doing here is that um, although there's stress, of course, stress is a good thing. Okay, just need to think about what's one the level of stress and how many times do you receive that. Uh, Folks, come back out of there with joy. So it's super important. Now, in terms of what thinking about still these definitions, relationships and social, what does Krav Maga bring to you? So you should train with people around you. I think that's super important. Krav Maga is not the best at this. It's not the best as a collective sport. Okay, because collective sports, by definition, they mingle people. Okay, so in Krav Maga and self-defense for all, you have to put a certain amount of games that will help you to build that capability. Of course, if we work as a team, defending if I'm defending someone, if we are two defending against bad guys, you can do some dynamics over that, but it's an individual sport. Nevertheless, we have a great community that helps people before, during, and after class. So you do train with people, okay? The sport itself, the activity is more individual, but even in that, you want to think that unless if you do shadow boxing for a living, you are always training with someone, okay? You are always like learning with someone. It's a tremendous relationship. The fact that you train with another. So I think that in a way, although it's a more of an individual sport, not compared to gymnastics or tumbling, for example. But Krav Maga, self-defense, martial arts, specifically what we're doing here, you have the pre-class, during class where you connect with people, and then after class where you share things that happen. So you do feel supported. That's super important in your relationships, that you should feel supported, seen, and part of something. I believe we do that. But in order to have this pillar of relationships and social, you should feel that you are in some place doing something with someone and people can see you. And I would say, for our purposes, don't feel isolated, or at least we ensure that our relationships in there are not isolated. not only focused on performance and not competing for ego. It's good to compete, look, and it's good to feel joy in winning. But losing it's also part of the game, and that means losing at the rep because I got tired or I didn't want to do that more, or it could mean that you go for a competition. Being clear, Krav Maga does not have competitions. Well, at least in the US, that I'm aware of. In Europe, it does have because the the I'm gonna say the legal side, not the legal, the environment is different. So, and we can go to that in another day. But there are people that do compete in Krav Maga. There are championships of Krav Maga. It's a weird thing, but it's possible. Of course, everything is possible. But you understand this. So, if you are competing, compete. Avoid the ego. Compete because it's like a challenge. Compete for your grade. Compete for the next bout. Compete to show up. Compete to show up. That look at that. That's a great competition to have. Now, where do I believe we bring value for everyone? Um, we do not train only for fitness. We do have incorporated fitness circuits in our training, but it's not the main thing. Okay, physical conditioning is important. As a head coach, I always have to balance between how much time does this person has coming to my class. Should I give them physical load? Push-ups, sit-ups, specific tasks that increase their physical strength. He only has 1 hour. Should he be training more technique, or let's call it games? I prefer games, but sometimes it's really important to put some specific strength, and it also builds the blueprint for you to train at home. So we do train usable movement. Now, regarding the confidence hype, okay, the thing that is out there, oh, I'm doing martial arts or whatever, and I'm really confident that, look, we try to maintain a certain level of calmness, and decision taking under pressure. That's it. No, we have to pressure, we have to test things out. And if you're able to decide under that pressure, when you're tired, when the partner throws shots at you or tries to grapple or tries to do things that are outside of your comfort, then it's going well. Third, but this is not like one or the other. Third, we do not isolate people. We do have privates, but because people want to detail more technique or have more one-on-one work, but we don't isolate people. We train like in a real community. In fact, our classes are very chatty. Like people talk and talk about technique and talk about their lives and then get back to work. So that's super important. So we hit these 3 parameters: the physical, the mental, and the social well-being, this relationship with others and with the self, at self-defense program. This goes in line with the World Health Organization definition. I think it's important that we use some definitions to help us out. There are others, but I like to pick that up, okay, in terms of getting something that is concrete. And I'll give you a concrete example, okay? That's why someone or many folks can leave our class tired, but more clear and better. It is like they worked, they feel tired, but like, okay, I'm done. In fact, I hear these things many times, like, I'm at home and I was not doing anything, or I wanted to be, I've been at home. In fact, last week, one of my students said, like, man, the last 2 weeks, because I got sick, I got an injury. He was playing that thing with the racquetball. Oh man, so pickleball. So he does something. He does like a back stretch with the hand on pickleball, and he stayed 3 weeks out of Krav Maga. 3 weeks. So I called him and I said, like, wait, come on, let's get a slow start. And we did. So a slow start was super important for him. He said to me, I'm winded at the end, but I'm feeling much better. Look at that. I was so proud. I was so proud of him. So I'm like, he came in, he did the work, and it worked really well. So these are the three lines, okay? Physical health, mental health, and the relationship with others, okay, or the relationship under the World Health Organization, physical, mental, and social well-being, okay, and not just the absence of disease. On that sense, I want you guys to think about this. We can consider weight as a disease, but you are not the consequence of that. What do I mean by that? I can say, well, I'm overweight and I train, or because I'm overweight, I don't feel this, and that. So, guys, same thing happens to arthritis. Same thing happens to certain mental conditions. It's not the condition that defines you, it's what you do with that. I hope this makes sense, right? I have tons of stuff, right? At least from my side, that is hernias, stuff like I cannot let myself be defined by these type of conditions. They exist, they are there. I'm doing the best that I can in order to be the best practitioner. And many times it's because of those conditions that we become something different and something better. Just think about that. Think about it. If you have arthritis, you can have someone like, I have arthritis, but I'm not defined by that. Right? You are defined by, yeah, I have this and I'm working on that. That's a better definition of what you are working in. So I want to let that happen so that you guys get this idea. Super important, I believe. If you're an active adult and you have stress in part of your life, okay, I think this matters, that you go through each one of these levels, the physical, the mental, the relationship, the social relationship with others and yourself, and you avoid and you get out of disease. And if you want training that effectively supports your health, not just the intensity of it, send us a message. Say health, okay? And we'll be able to help. We'll be definitely able to help your self-defense, and we'll definitely be able to help all the other areas. We do have data that shows that. So I think it's super that this can be done with Krav Maga. Super, super, super. Okay, before we leave, there were two mass shootings in the U.S. No, my bad. One in the U.S. in Brown University, and another one in Australia. In particular, the one in Australia, one person intervened, and the guy was a hero, man. And if you look at this technique, is like, I'm going to call it a textbook Krav Maga technique. But what is textbook is not the Krav Maga technique. What is textbook is that humans help each other. That's what is textbook. Textbook, unfortunately, also that humans try to kill others. But it's also true the other side. Independent of their beliefs, religion, people help each other. And this person came in and help others. I think that's something to think about. So if you want to help others, and one day might be Krav Maga as well, that needs to be the tool, we are here to help. But I want to, yes, it's bad, but we also need to think about and see the good side in this. That is, there was a human that got out of his way, get out of his life to go and tackle down a person that had a gun, putting his own life at risk so that he can help others to live more. Tremendous, right? Okay, guys, here it is for today. I shall see you tomorrow at 12:30. Very, very fun today. We'll go live at 6 p.m. I'll show you a couple of interesting things from the class. Any questions, just hit me up in here, and I'll find a way to solve questions. If not, see you later, see you tomorrow, and enjoy your day.